Kelsey Mitchell shut down Angel Reese's so-called comeback before it ever had a chance to build momentum. Over the weekend, Reese finally returned to a pro court after disappearing from the 2025 WNBA season with a back injury, the same type of issue that cut her 2024 campaign short. There was a lot of anticipation around her return. Fans were waiting to see growth, dominance, some kind of leap forward. Instead, she ran into an Indiana Fever all-star who had other plans. Mitchell didn't just outplay her, she took over when it mattered most. On the game-winning drive, Mitchell attacked with confidence and left Reese scrambling. By the final buzzer, Reese posted the worst plus-minus on her team at -9. In a game that was supposed to mark her resurgence, she looked completely out of rhythm. That raises a serious question. What has Reese been working on during all this time away? Because from the outside looking in, there doesn't seem to be much evolution in her game. The same flaws, the same struggles, and now even more pressure. Is this just rust from time off? Or is this a bigger issue about development and durability? I want to hear what you think. Should Reese keep grinding and prove the critics wrong? Or is it time to reconsider her future in the league? Drop a comment below and type baby giraffe if you made it this far.
Mitch put Angel Reese in a ditch. Kelsey Mitchell finds herself at the three-point line, one-on-one against the great one. If you know, you know. One-on-one against Angel Reese. Takes her off the dribble, blow by. Angel Reese seeing stars, bend over, touch your toes. Kelsey Mitchell, give me that game.
Here's something people aren't talking about enough. Why does Angel Reese keep being sidelined right when the competition reaches its peak? Think about the timeline. In 2024, her WNBA season was cut short because of a hand injury. Then during the 2025 Unrivaled season, she didn't make it to the finish line. And later that same year, she missed the closing stretch of the 2025 WNBA season with a back issue. That's 3 different seasons, 3 different setbacks, and each one happens as the pressure ramps up and the games start to matter the most. At some point, you have to stop calling it coincidence. When the same scenario keeps repeating itself, it's no longer just unfortunate timing. It starts to look like a trend, and trends raise bigger questions about durability, preparation, and whether a player can truly be counted on when everything is on the line.
Angel Reese suspended again. Bang! Her own team suspended her because she missed too many layups. First time we've ever seen somebody suspended because they're booty cheeks. Bang! She's so embarrassed she got suspended by her own team, she's now faking a back injury. Bang! This performance, that back brace ain't doing nothing. She's hugging, she's laughing. Not a coincidence, she's also in a movie now. She's acting. Bang! Doing everything but getting better at basketball.
Look, injuries are part of the game. No one expects athletes to be invincible. But when a team keeps using the word injury without offering any real details, people are going to start asking questions. That's where the frustration comes in with the Chicago Sky. The updates are always vague. Day to day, no clear timeline, no explanation of the rehab process, no real insight into what's actually going on behind the scenes. Fans are basically left in the dark, trying to piece things together on their own. And when communication stays that limited for long enough, speculation fills the gap. That's just reality. Now compare that to how the Indiana Fever handle things. When Caitlin Clark is dealing with something physically, the team addresses it. When any Fever player is hurt, there's straightforward communication. Supporters aren't left wondering what's real and what isn't. That level of openness matters. It shows respect for the fan base. Because at the end of the day, there's a big difference between keeping your audience informed and simply hoping they'll stop asking questions.
Burn! A movie, you got a podcast, 2K cover, but you can't hit a jump shot. Burn! Season's over, so let's rewind the tape to her first meme out of the season. Let's get it! Bang! Bang! My favorite play of the season for her. It took her 4, 5, 6, 7. Tries to make it to the basket. The anti-gravity shot. Bang! Defender not leaving the ground to block your shot. Bang! What's up? Come get some. Bang!
Shoot, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Oh yeah, butter pecan. Bang!
Then February 2026 arrives, and Angel Reese suddenly reappears in Unrivaled looking completely healthy. She's moving well, no noticeable stiffness, no signs of lingering pain. Nothing that suggests her back was the kind of issue that supposedly kept her out for such a long stretch. So naturally, people start wondering, if the injury was serious enough to sideline her for the remainder of a WNBA season, what changed? What did the recovery process actually involve? Who signed off on her return, and when did that happen? None of those details have really been laid out. What is clear though is the timing. Her comeback seemed to align perfectly with a big media moment rather than a clearly explained medical update. And that's where skepticism creeps in. Some will argue these late season exits feel less about physical limitations and more about stepping away when the pressure intensifies. When the Chicago Sky are struggling and the scrutiny ramps up, the back issue resurfaces. But when there's a spotlight, cameras, and a headline ready to be written, suddenly she looks game ready. Is that definitive proof of anything? No, it's speculation. But when the timeline keeps raising the same questions, people are going to draw their own conclusions.
Kelsey Mitchell calls game over Angel Reese. Oh snap.
To Hillis. Back out Mitchell. 5 to shoot. Crossover. Nifty dribble.
Oh, don't slam the ball. Don't slam the ball, Angel. Come on. It's not that serious. It's Unrivaled. Don't slam the ball.
There's another side to this that doesn't get nearly enough attention. The actual basketball impact. When a player sits out, they're not just missing games. They're losing practice reps. They're missing film breakdowns, strength work, conditioning, and the live in-game adjustments that only come from battling real opponents. That daily grind is what sharpens skills and builds consistency. Every time a season ends early, that progress stalls. And when progress stalls, the gap doesn't magically shrink, it grows. That's exactly what we saw on February 20th. A player who has repeatedly stepped away before finishing the job returned looking out of sync, like someone still trying to catch up. Meanwhile, an Indiana Fever all-star was locked in, polished, and fully prepared, with zero sympathy for someone shaking off rust mid-game. So it raises a bigger question. How does someone who keeps missing significant time just slide back into Unrivaled in the middle of the season as if nothing happened? That's not a minor detail, and so far, the explanation from Unrivaled hasn't exactly cleared some open gym where players can just walk in and out whenever they want. The league operates with a developmental pool model, and roster spots are filled through a defined system. Mid-season additions aren't supposed to be casual decisions. There are guidelines, eligibility standards, and a structure that's meant to keep everything fair. That's why eyebrows went up when Angel Reese was suddenly back in the mix. Candace Parker, a future Hall of Famer and one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, openly questioned whether the league may have stretched its own rules to make that return possible. And this isn't just some hot take personality stirring drama. Parker understands league operations, competitive balance, and what it means when organizations start making exceptions. When someone with her resume signals that something doesn't add up, people listen. The timing only added fuel to the fire. Heading into February, Unrivaled's ratings weren't exactly surging. Meanwhile, the WNBA, powered in large part by Caitlin Clark's star appeal, had reset expectations for what kind of viewership women's basketball can generate. That kind of contrast creates pressure. Reese is a headline magnet. Her comeback instantly created buzz, coverage, and conversation. Just like that, Unrivaled had a fresh storyline dominating the news cycle. So the real question becomes, was this about competitive basketballs or was it about business optics? Because when a league starts mixing those two too freely, credibility can take a hit. And Unrivaled may have just dipped into that trust bank to buy a moment.
There's no rules, you can't break them.
Oh, damn. D-Zam. If there are no rules, you can't break them. And you can tell Aaliyah is like, yeah, this came across as shady to her too. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Hell, nobody knows what's going on in this league. I mean, seriously.
There's another angle here that's tough to overlook. Angel Reese's partnership with Reebok and her overall brand hasn't exactly been on steady ground. Endorsements thrive on momentum, and momentum only exists when you're visible. If you're not on the court, you're not in highlight packages. You're not part of the nightly sports debate. You're not trending for your performance. And when that visibility fades, so does market value. Even a controversial return to Unrivaled instantly puts her name back into headlines. There have also been rumblings about Reese's financial standing. Concrete details are hard to pin down, but the urgency behind her comeback feels less like the league desperately needed her, and more like she needed to be playing. From a branding standpoint, inactivity is expensive. Oren, here's the bigger issue for Unrivaled. The risk they took didn't deliver the payoff they might have hoped for. Yes, Reese's return sparked conversation, but it didn't translate into the kind of measurable impact that Caitlin Clark consistently brings to the WNBA. When Clark steps on the floor, ratings jump because her production backs up the hype. It's elite performance driving attention. Reese's comeback, on the other hand, created buzz centered around missed opportunities and a -9 plus-minus. Those are two completely different types of headlines. One strengthens a league's foundation, the other just fills a news cycle.
To Billis. Back out Mitchell. 5 to shoot. Crossover. Nifty dribble. Turns. Layup goes. 5. Earns win number 4. On the back of the missile. Kelsey Mitchell.
Wow, what a finish.
Wow.
I mean, you didn't see it coming, but Kelsey Mitchell, from the time this game began, in a plethora of ways, found ways to score. Her handle, getting around, turning the corner again. The lefty, you know it's in the sky, nothing you can do when you stop her.
That's a tough matchup for any post player, anybody really with Kelsey Mitchell. I talked about her at the top of the game. She was going to be the one if the Hives wanted to get the W. She's the one that closed out.
All 4 of Hives wins are by 3 points or fewer. It's a season high 80.
When you break it all down, this exemption situation isn't just one issue. It's 3 layered on top of each other. First, you've got a league that may have stretched its own guidelines chasing a short-term spike in attention. Second, there's a player whose brand seemed to need a boost badly enough that the circumstances of her return raised eyebrows. And third, the comeback itself didn't deliver the kind of performance that would have made all the controversy worth it. Candace Parker pointed out the concerns. The stat sheet backed up the skepticism. And while Unrivaled appeared focused on orchestrating a headline-grabbing return for Angel Reese, the Indiana Fever were simply putting in the work and building something sustainable on the court. Now let's talk numbers. 13 points and 8 rebounds. At a quick glance, that stat line looks respectable. If you only skimmed the box score, you might assume Reese had a decent outing. But those raw totals don't tell the full story. In fact, they cover up more than they reveal.
To get Chelsea Gray up, nice finish.
Reese attacks Stevens, high off glass. Big lineup for Nola Henry. Reese and Austin play together. Reese out.
Let's add some perspective here. Rose Basketball Club wasn't facing a battle-tested midseason Angel Reese in peak rhythm. They were preparing for someone stepping back onto the floor after months away. That's a completely different scouting report. Defending a player who's been grinding all year isn't the same as defending one still trying to rediscover timing and flow. Rose understood exactly what version of Reese they were up against. And even with that built-in advantage, the cracks showed up fast, especially around the rim. We're not talking about heavily contested jumpers or tough shots off the dribble. These were point-blank opportunities, layups, the kind of finishes elite players convert automatically, in drills, in shoot-around, all in their sleep. Instead, the touch looked off. The movement seemed hesitant. It felt like her instincts knew what to do, but her body hadn't fully caught up to real game speed yet. That kind of rust is hard to hide, especially when the spotlight is already locked in. But here's the bigger reality, that the struggles around the rim didn't just pop up out of nowhere. This has been a talking point around Angel Reese for a while now. It's not simply about shaking off rust from time away. Questions about her touch and efficiency near the basket have followed her throughout her pro career. Her identity as a player is rooted in toughness. She relies on strength, positioning, crashing the boards, and beating defenders to spots before they can react. It's a blue-collar, high-motor style that can absolutely be effective. but that approach depends on one key thing: capitalizing once you get there. If you're doing all the hard work to carve out space and create opportunities but not finishing consistently from close range, the entire structure of your game starts to weaken, because at this level, effort gets you chances, but skill closes the deal.
Reese, part 39, let's get it! They only lost by 19! Bang! Starting to feel bad. The other teams are starting to feel bad too. They're just gonna let her have it. Like, here you go! Like that Make-A-Wish kid scoring a touchdown in a wheelchair. Bang! Come here! Cut my arm! You're gonna say that I bleed Angel Reese transition threes? How about it? Bang! 23 of her 81 shots this year have been blocked. 28%. Ain't that crazy? Bang! Guess not if you can't jump over a blade of grass because your ass. Bang!
But if you really want to understand how that game unfolded, look at the stat that doesn't lie: the plus minus. In just 10 minutes on the floor, Angel Reese posted a -9. That means her team was outscored by 9 points during her stretches. That's not some random swing or a single bad possession. That's a consistent downward shift while she was in the action. Box score totals can sometimes paint a flattering picture. Points and rebounds might look respectable at first glance. But plus minus tells you what actually happened to the flow of the game, and in this case, it wasn't positive. Reese has mentioned before that her success depends on having strong talent around her. Rose BC isn't lacking in capable players. She wasn't out there alone, yet during her minutes, the group still lost ground, which makes that explanation hit a little differently. There's also the conditioning factor. After being away for that long, no matter how good you feel in workouts, live competition is different. Timing is tighter, reads have to be instant, defensive angles matter more than ever. Even a slight dip in lateral quickness or reaction speed becomes noticeable. And when you're matched up against someone as precise and aggressive as Kelsey Mitchell, that tiny delay is everything. 1/2 step late, and you're no longer containing the drive. You're trailing the play.
Come on with your corn on the cob. You got butter? Butter? Did you say butter? Butter pecan! Bang! Y'all want to see a dunk in the WNBA? Me too. Bang! Crazier stat is that she averages more turnovers per game than field goals made. Bang! Got her double-double, am I right? Double-double. Give me that rebound. Bing, 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 bang. Prediction. It's hot. She's dropping back. She's in the pocket. She's scanning the field. And she's picked off. Going the other way. She's at the 40, 30, 20, 10. End zone. Touchdown. Bang!
13 points and 8 rebounds might look decent on paper until you line them up against the -9 plus minus, the missed layups, and the uncomfortable truth: she was stepping onto the floor against someone who spent every day of the offseason doing the work Reese skipped. Want to see the difference between a player who's been grinding all season and one just returning from time off? Watch the fourth quarter of this game. Kelsey Mitchell spent the 2025 to 2026 stretch doing exactly what elite Indiana Fever players do: practicing, competing, building chemistry, and sharpening every part of her game. When she attacks downhill, she's one of the most dangerous guards in women's basketball, and fast, decisive, and unhesitating the moment she sees a lane. That kind of precision isn't something you just inherit or maintain without effort. It's a skill honed every single day through reps, conditioning, and competition. And it shows, especially when someone trying to catch up can't match that pace.
Right, she gets it in the corner and she says, "Oh, this is Angel Reese. Let me bring you out to deep waters. Let me get you out to deep waters and let me cook up real quick." Off the dribble, game winner, Angel Reese. This isn't the best defensive form. When you see how far hunched over she is, trying to stay with, come on, you're gonna lose that 10 times out of 10 times, especially against Kelsey Mitchell. Guards can't even keep up with Money Mitch. Guards can't even keep up with.
Late in the game, with Hive trailing and desperate for a basket, Mitchell received the ball in a pick and roll with Angel Reese guarding her. This was the moment where months off collide with live in-game pressure. Mitchell read the situation instantly. She noticed Reese's positioning was just a fraction behind, and she attacked without hesitation. No pauses, no second thoughts. She saw the opening and went straight through it. The move was classic Mitchell: change of pace, get the defender leaning, and finish through contact. Reese was supposed to be the last barrier, back of the final line of defense, but she couldn't recover fast enough. The game-winning drive went in. Hive took the win 80-78, and Reese's long-awaited comeback night ended with her just watching Mitchell celebrate while the final buzzer sounded.
Joking on the internet right now, this is what Angel Reese saw while guarding Kelsey Mitchell. This is what Angel Reese saw while guarding Kelsey Mitchell. Just Kelsey Mitchell, bam!
What makes that play so telling goes far beyond just getting beaten off the dribble. That moment demanded quick lateral movement, anticipation, and the ability to contest cleanly. All skills that fade when you've been away from competitive basketball for months. On that drive, Reese displayed none of it, not a single element. Mitchell, on the other hand, executed all of them flawlessly. A huge reason for that lies in the environment she trains in day after day. She has Caitlin Clark setting a relentless standard for preparation and professionalism in practice. Aaliyah Boston brings veteran stability that keeps everyone focused. Lexi Hull injects nonstop energy and work ethic, while Sophie Cunningham adds physical toughness that shapes every drill. That kind of environment trains players to perform under pressure. It demands readiness. Reese's environment has looked very different. Public disputes with teammates, criticisms of veterans, and months away from meaningful competition. That's not how you build fourth quarter sharpness. True readiness isn't something you switch on for one game. It comes from daily habits, and those habits have to be consistent, structured, and reinforced every single day.
Here's the thing, just because Angel Reese may have gotten the steal here, doesn't mean she would have converted on this bucket. Let's take a look right here from last year.
8-7, the lead has flipped.
Angel Reese with a steal, wide open layup, dumps it off.
Copper, the finish.
Yeah. You guys get the point. Who's to say that Angel Reese would have won up for the layup and actually converted on the layup, right? Who's to say that's actually what would have taken place?
The Mitchell drive wasn't luck, and it wasn't a fluke. It was the natural result of two players on completely different trajectories colliding at the worst possible moment for one of them. One player had spent months honing her skills within one of the most disciplined and high-performing team environments in women's basketball. The other had been away long enough that even the fundamentals, defensive positioning, lateral recovery, contest timing, were noticeably off. That game-winning drive didn't just decide the outcome of one matchup. It was a statement, and it highlights why 2026 is shaping up to be a very different season for the Indiana Fever, and a tough one for anyone trying to catch up. Caitlin Clark's influence extends far beyond her own stat line. It elevates everyone around her. The February 20th game made that perfectly clear. The Fever's core entering 2026 is legitimately elite. Clark is the engine. Aaliyah Boston provides stability and leadership. Kelsey Mitchell delivers in the clutch. Lexi Hull keeps the flow connected. Sophie Cunningham brings toughness and grit. This isn't just a roster on paper. It's a cohesive unit that has been building chemistry, trust, and skill together, while others were on the sidelines, and that difference showed in every possession.
Proud of this group. I think we've shown all season long, like, they're resilient, they're connected, they pull for each other, they enjoy one another, they celebrate one another, and that stuff alone is good for 10 to 12 points a game. And for this group, the way that they share the ball, how unselfish they are. I mean, I'm really proud of them. It's not been ideal circumstances all season long, but they've shown the character of who they are. They've been resilient. They've responded to adversity, and they continue to elevate one another. And I couldn't be more proud of this group than I am at this.
Caitlin Clark's Nike deal, her Forbes recognition, her $28 million landmark contract, none of that is just personal gain. Every time she steps on the floor, the entire Indiana Fever organization reaps the benefits. Record attendance, top-tier TV ratings, games people plan their nights around. That's the consistency Clark brings. Star power that doesn't rely on drama, rule exemptions, or controversy to generate attention. Angel Reese's brand tells a very different story. Headlines fueled by debate, sponsor relationships under scrutiny, a Reebok deal questioned in the public eye, and a highly publicized comeback that made waves more for missed layups and a negative plus-minus than anything else. The market notices the difference between authentic, on-court excellence and attention manufactured by controversy. Right now, that gap couldn't be wider. The Fever's culture is built on two pillars: accountability and consistency. You won't see them trending on social media, but they reveal themselves where it counts. In fourth quarter execution. Kelsey Mitchell's game-winning drive wasn't luck or a lucky bounce. It was the product of months spent in a system designed to prepare players for high-pressure moments. That level of readiness isn't something you can make up in a few weeks after sitting out. It's built daily in practice, in drills, and in the grind, the very things that separate true competitors from those trying to catch up.
I think it just says a lot about who we have as human beings. That was one of the things that we made a priority in the off season of, who we bring into this organization. Number one, quality human beings, selfless human beings, that want to pull for one another, that understand. We have this depth for a reason, and sometimes it creates challenges getting people on the floor. But in situations like this is why you have it. And I'm just, she's right. I mean, as a pro. And as a pro coach, this is one of the most connected groups I've seen.
Aaliyah Boston provides the veteran stability that keeps the team focused and grounded. Lexi Hull brings relentless defensive energy, setting the bar high every night. Sophie Cunningham adds a level of physical toughness that defines the team's competitive edge. Together, that structure creates the space for Caitlin Clark's brilliance to shine, while simultaneously elevating everyone around her. Angel Reese's environment in Chicago has looked very different. Public critiques of Courtney Vandersloot and other teammates revealed a locker room lacking that same foundation. Vandersloot, by contrast, handled the situation with calm professionalism, more poise in a single press conference than Reese has displayed across multiple seasons. That leadership gap is just as real as any skill gap on the court. The 2026 WNBA season is fast approaching, and Clark enters it healthy, motivated, and surrounded by teammates who have been competing, growing, and sharpening their games all winter. The same group that watched Mitchell execute the game-winning drive against Reese is the same unit that will be pushing for a championship once the season truly begins.
Are the records that she's broken on the men's and women's side. Caitlin Clark will be the first player ever, Brian, to lead the country in not just scoring. People want to say she's the greatest scorer of all time, and that's true, but scoring and assists. She's the only player to reach 3,000 points and 1,000 assists. No player has ever done that before. So there are things that she's done that no player on the men's or women's side has ever.
The February 20th matchup made one thing crystal clear. The gap between a team that kept developing and a player who kept stepping away isn't small, and it won't close on its own. Angel Reese returned amid swirling questions about her health, her commitment, and even the rules that allowed her back. The game answered them all, a -9+-, missed layups, and a game-winning drive from an Indiana Fever All-Star she simply couldn't stop. This wasn't just a shaky debut, it was a statement. While Reese was making headlines for injuries and controversies, Clark, Mitchell, Boston, Hull, and Cunningham were quietly building something real every single day. The gap you saw on February 20th didn't appear overnight, and it isn't going anywhere soon. Do you think Angel Reese should step away from basketball for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments with Baby Giraffe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on your screen, and we'll see you in the next one.